So, okay, let's keep going. I do need, I do need to, John, can you catch up on questions?
Sure. I think that one of the questions that is, I will summarize about 6 questions
Okay.
um, in kind of answering that there are a lot of questions about what the proper methodology is, what you feel should be counted, what shouldn't be counted.
All right.
Sandra says in Pennsylvania, there's a concern that if somebody is in a nursing home in Lackawanna County, but they originally resided in Luzerne County, that they're counted twice.
Yeah.
And I think that these are all valid concerns of which we have no answers on on the accuracy of that in that
Yeah. Yeah.
statement.
Well, so, one of the things I must press for is that not everybody there isn't a single person that has all the answers. Okay. So even, Dr. Rachel Levine, who has outstanding background, she can't be expected to have all the answers to all of these things. There has to be a team. All right. And the team also has to have some experience. So the question is there double counting? Likely. Is there undercounting? Extremely likely. Extremely likely. Is there a lack of, a single definition of whether a patient died of COVID or not? Absolutely. Okay. So let me just try to summarize a conversation that I had online recently with 2 data guys. All right. I mean, these are hardcore data guys. And they have a background in statistics. They have a background in molecular biology. And so they're able to discuss this from somewhat of a multidisciplinary perspective. And I added the clinical perspective. So, we tried to talk, this is important. We tried to get one definition. Okay. There right now is what you see on that Johns Hopkins map that John showed earlier is what we call case fatality. All right. It's the number of deaths in the country over the number of positive COVID cases. It's an extremely crude and rough estimate, all right? And because it's crude and rough, you'll see case fatality percentages as high as 14% in a country like Italy. You'll see them as low as 0.5% in Germany, okay, case fatality. Then there's a more stringent definition called infection fatality rate, all right? So infection fatality rate is the deaths confirmed by the presence of antibodies. So this person didn't just get a nose and blah, 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 and maybe, and chest X, well, it's COVID by diagnosis, and they went, none of that. This is definitive. They had the antibody for this virus, which means they were definitely infected, and they died. Okay, so again, much more specific, and that infection fatality rate, it can be debated, is actually between 0.8% and 1.5%. All right, so where is there some failure there? There's some failure in the fact that the test itself for antibodies may not be specific enough. Okay, if it's not 95 or between 95 and 100, if it's not above that, and if not everyone was tested with the exact same test, then there's going to be flaws in the infection fatality rate, in my opinion. And we can have somebody who has a better biostats background debate that. And finally, there's mortality. Okay, mortality is, in my opinion, the multidimensional, multidisciplinary approach. And what it says is, patient came to the hospital for COVID symptoms. It was confirmed by any of the above methods that the patient has COVID. The patient died. During the course of the disease in the hospital, the patient died. Okay? That mortality rate in the United States is estimated to be 1.5%. Okay, so for every 1,000 people, right? 15 people, 1,000 people will get it. 15 people will die. I think that's correct. So these definitions are not being implemented with a national standard in all of the states. So the case counts are not standardized. The fatality and the that's not standardized. So these are the problems we're facing with numbers. Now, let's just say that we're off by 10%. That's a big margin of error. In statistics, 10% is like walking around with one eye, all right? In terms of the visibility of the data and accuracy of the data. 10% margin of error is bad, all right? If 10% of is in error, we've still lost 80,000 people to this disease in 3 months. So I'm not sure what it is that we are achieving by necessarily debating or criticizing data collection. All I want is as much data as possible, okay? Even if it's dirty, we'll clean it. But as far as the case counts, if there was a suspected COVID patient that died, we want to know. If there was a patient that recovered and thought that they had COVID, we want to know. The more data, the better. That's with any disease, it is inevitable. We just have to assemble the data, and then we have methods to normalize it and to clean it. So
here's a question. If somebody